Hi everybody, welcome to Archimarathon.
Today we're at the Hedmark Archaeological Museum by Sverre Fehn in Norway.
You are not prepared for this. I wasn't prepared for this. I've been shaken to my core. This is a profound experience. And for anybody that is interested in heritage architecture and how to deal with sensitive heritage places, there are endless lessons here and various ways through a very simple palette of materials that he has addressed heritage in innovative ways. Hey, roll intro. That's an interesting interpretation. Okay, intro rolled.
I realise I'm holding my arm. Looks like I'm just like resting on my beer gut, as of like that.
What's wrong with that?
I hurt my arm, as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm holding it. So I'm resting on my beer gut because it's Viking drinking beers.
It suits you. It's your new look.
Yeah.
It's the Kevin stance.
Yeah.
If you keep working on that gut, you could get a beer sitting there soon.
I'll work on that.
You work on that. He's got important homework, people.
Stay hydrated.
Come on. See how he does that? He walks the opposite way. I say, let's go this way. And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go the other way.
I guess when you first enter also, you'll find this giant glass structure. That's not by Sverre Fehn. That's the original cathedral. This is the ruins of the bishop's manor house and the museum itself with all the artifacts.
Deliberately modest. The heritage tactic here was that you go, well, I can see a couple of little insertions, but okay, they're basically restoring it. They're using the same type of tile, but it's glass. They're lulling you into a false sense of security before you get in there.
Much like single evidence with the glass stuck on the outside, so you don't really see the glass when you're inside. Let's go in.
Look at the flooring, not mucking around. You know you're in a ruin. So the first thing you're presented with is getting directly outside, but you noticed these hanging pieces of concrete. And this is essentially the entry, isn't it, Kev?
Yeah. But if you look the other side, that's the usual poster of these floating pods. Oh, by the way, that's where you get your tickets. Lovely people here. But look at all the joinery, details and stuff. They didn't design a bin, but all that stuff is designed.
So the concrete itself, you'll notice through most of the building, is deliberately kept separate from the heritage, from the old walls.
Everything is curated and designed, pieces and how they're displayed with all this detail.
Definitely got that Scarpa vibe to it, but incredibly simple. Like it's just a piece, it's a plate that's just had elements folded out and then the stone inserted into it. The glimpses through to the skylights. So you've got this remarkable layering going on here. So you've obviously got the heritage stone walls, and then you've got the timber, the glulam timber that's doing all of the work for the roof.
Which is reminiscent of the barn that used to be here before they discovered the ruins.
And then the concrete, like the entry that we saw, is kept separate. It floats actually in the middle. Well, not floats, it sits on these legs, but it's its own structure. And it doesn't pick up any of the timber.
This entry is pretty amazing though. I do love those pools of light behind you. It comes down into quite a sort of cavernous space down here with the concrete.
It's an interesting trick, isn't it? That you've got the concrete's not touching the walls, so you're aware of all this light cascading down, but deliberately being compressed. But you get all of these beautiful little moments, the very much Scarpa related folded steel plates bolted into the old wall. Look at these simple ones. These are just flat steel plates, just arranged and bent in beautiful ways to hold the artwork instead of, a nail in the wall. Gorgeous. And look at this one. This one's just a slab of stone, very Scarpa-like, with the bolts going through, holding it to stop it from falling over one little corner down there, bracing it, and then the artwork.
And the slit for the steel there to sit in.
Oh yeah, that one braces through that way to the artwork on the other side. Huh. Wowzers. This one's great, Kev, because they've removed the artwork, so you just get the stand here as a little sculpture.
Yeah, there were some beautiful little glass there.
And like at this point, the theatre of the space is, you know there's something good up there, but you denied it. So this layering of the journey of the museum is really generous in not giving it to you too early. The structure themselves, you can see the timbers being made separate to the concrete, and there's a standard rhythm, and it just lands where it lands. They haven't attempted to make it frame the heritage place. It's like this new element that's just slid into the old heritage fabric. And then this. The magic number, 450. So you can actually bring people through here and have a performance or a lecture or some sort of event and sit there on the leather seats in this beautiful grand space. And you start to really understand what the barn was like originally. All of that being new timber. The structure that they've set up, every second bay is the clear roof tiles. And it's really interesting, they've put that on the northern side.
So away from the direct sun.
Yeah, so the southern sun pouring in through here, it gets protected from that. And very rarely, because we're in Norway, would that get hit by direct sunlight. It's midsummer today, so we're getting a little bit of sunlight on it, and this beautiful dappled light, but you don't get too much thermal load coming into the building. When you get to this point, you can see this concrete is smack in the ridge line, and it shows two bays. You've got one bay on this side out of concrete, and then another bay on that side. So when we entered, it wasn't a ceiling, it was the underside of more display space. Really interesting how they've done the structure too. That they've lifted the collar tie up so there's plenty of height in here, so you get this great junction. And at that point, on the facade as well, you get the bracing that comes up and picks up that load point.
Look at the display things hanging off the side.
Like how often, if you were given this brief, you'd think, okay, so I've got to create a white box and I then put this on a white wall. Instead, creating a space where it doesn't matter where you are, you could be downstairs and you get to see every part of it, rethinking the way that museums work. There's some interesting rules too that are being set up here, like where there's a brand new floor, the timber goes all the way down and hits, but we'll see later on that where there's the ruins, the timber doesn't go all the way down, it actually sits on the old walls.
I love the breaking rule there. It's column, column, column over here. This splits it because why not?
Yeah, and there's a hierarchy there. The concrete dictates to the timber. The quality of light is just exceptional.
And yes, below that we were able to see that
On the
boat
underside.
from the underside. Now we get to see it up here as well. Look at that little slit there between the elements and where Andrew's bridging across now, going to another double height space over there.
Two corners have these huge curved glulam beams. Completely unnecessary because you already have enough height here for head height, but I guess it's just a way of celebrating the corner, letting all of that lovely light splash through and create this special moment in here.
Yeah, this corner there, right the 45, not only you get this curve, but yeah, you get this pool of light, but that pool of light happens downstairs as well because of the stairwell.
Such a beautiful stair. And then when we head this way, so that one hall is following a set of rules. This hallway follows the same set of rules, but just a little twist on it. Like, look at that central axis, these two floating boxes. We can't see glass tiles in the roof here, except for just a little slit. You can see the glow. And that's because where the glass tiles are in this wing is directly over these two display boxes.
And this view here is often the hero shot. So the displays in these, of course, as we said, their own skylights. but also each piece with a little detail.
You've got the ruins below, and you can see where the rules changed here. The timber framing for the roof comes down and it sits on the original walls rather than interrupting the ground plane. Some of this is 1,000 years old. There are just so many eras built one over the top. It's very much that concept of palimpsest, of layering over history.
Yeah, the width of the door is the thickness of the wall.
So that's half the width of that. That's very clever. And then look at this space. Beautiful to look at all the different artifacts, but it's lit just with that beautiful timber framing of the roof and the old roof tiles. The quality of light, even on a cloudy day or a rainy day, must be incredible in this space.
Notice the glass.
No, I actually don't notice the glass.
Exactly. This is exactly like Leverance, where he puts the glass on the outside. And you saw those weird glass on the outside when we enter? That's what it's for. You really just don't feel there's a glass frame.
Because instead of there being a frame in a hole, it's pinned on the outside.
Check out, again, more display. Hey, look, the structure runs through between these two elements.
Oh my God, so they've left a gap enough for the timber to do its work.
Truss going through.
Gorgeous. Another one of these extraordinary spaces.
Yeah, but this one you don't really walk into.
Oh, it's just got some glazing though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but again, it's just delicate little details of elements. Look at that. Mounting, that piece of concrete, the stone mounted, and the little cross there, which you can see.
At this point, you get an incredible layering of history. Not only a view out to the city, so you can see now, but there is like a 1,000-year-old road that runs at an angle through here. There's old structures, these curved sort of dome structures down there, and then if you turn around, there's the old blocks, the bricks, and then look here where we've got these hanging, beautiful, extraordinary monolithic concrete blocks. That sweet little glow of light, I just love that it gives away that that's where the tiles are. The discipline to have a set of rules that you then just twist on. It's so great that we don't have any tiles here, so you get a very different vibe in this space to that one just around the corner. Anybody that's dealt with heritage knows that there's no clear strategy. It's really difficult. It's about sincerely trying to be part of the ongoing story of a building. And I think it's exceptional here that you've got the timber structure obviously separate, the glass obviously separate. But then here, the question is, what do I maintain? What do I retain? What do I rebuild? They've actually put down a concrete structure here and rebuilt these walls. But it's quite, in a way, quite clear when you have a look at it that there's new mortar in that. So it is the original part of the building, but this part is a rebuilt part. See that line there, Kev? You see really clearly that they've built that on top just so they can get that datum up there for the glazing, because they need to do sound separation from here, because this is where there's the main lecture theatre. Another one of those curved beams. Another incredible spiral.
And that spiral is the big ramp that goes outside. It punches right through. It's a bit hard for the camera to see, but it's there. It's incredible composition right at this junction.
And that glazing all pinned together.
Yeah, beautiful spiral staircase coming through. And in here, more exhibitions. Very cave-like, compressed, low space again.
Inward focused. And I need to hang some stuff. Instead of just doing a white plasterboard wall, I'm going to bend that bit. I'm just going to tack it into the ground there and then just off the concrete ceiling, pin it.
Yeah, but even the way that it's fixed on concrete, it's got almost butterfly on both sides.
So this is a lot like the entry, isn't it, where you've got this compressed feeling, and that's used quite deliberately because when you get here, you get compressed the other way, and then when you come through here, become compressed this way, look, it's a completely different feeling.
It's a very narrow walkway.
But you still
This
get
isn't the main way to come into the place though.
you still get that separation of the concrete, timber, the addition of the louvers, which are timber as well.
Now we've entered into the great auditorium hall.
Well, you only sparingly see the heritage parts. Most of it looks rebuilt. This rule as well, where the timber lands directly on the wall. Actually, this is one of the few points you get close to this junction.
Yeah. Look at the little detail on the end of the concrete.
I don't know what it's for, but I like it.
And then up there, I think there are skylights up over there.
The ridge comes through, and then the hip changes, picks up a beam there, which comes down to this post, and it's like, uh-oh, I've hit a door. That's fine. I'm doing that now.
Now you've got a greater door. You've got a sort of emphasized portal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's such, you can tell, vast experience. I'm setting up rules and then I'm messing with them in the most thoughtful way.
And look at the way that the steel plate and bolted. This is something that you probably will find in the building we're soon to see. That's also here.
And that's really there because that's doing all the bracing, because it's just a post and beam structure. A very Scandinavian thing to do is to hang lights down and use the lights to define an intimate space. What's great about this one is that these then continue through and they become the lighting in that really dramatic space, just keeping exactly the same
plane. Clever.
And it's pretty much in the centre of where the beams form. And at this point we rediscover the concrete wall, which becomes this incredible bridge, glazed so that it's separate to the heritage structure. And then it pulls you away from the building and you think to yourself, is this random? Why is it curved like that? It leads you back to the entry. It all seems very pragmatic in a way. In reality, it's mimicking the medieval wall of the original castle.
But it also gives you an overview of some of the ruins.
At this point, we see so many of the important ingredients of the building. The clear tiled glazing on the roof, the glazing that pins onto the outside so you don't see any framing from the inside. And then where there is original glazing, that's been protected and restored.
And the barn feels like a barn with subtle plays, such as amazing texture, differences in composition over the ruins.
And the glazing really is just pinned off the facade. It's quite a big opening there, so it's definitely not weatherproof.
There were parts you can see that it literally cut around the glass too.
Yeah, right here. Look at this. The glazing's been cut through here and then just mastic on it. But still there's a gap. Here you can see where the ramp doesn't touch. So the concrete is meant to be this alien element that just sort of hovers through.
They did add a little bit of stone there just for ease of access these days.
The same thing happens with those stairs as well. They're held off separately to the structure. The other great thing about this place is that it's not that busy. We've got this place to ourselves. Woo! It'll become really busy though when this video blows up.
There are a lot of birds.
You've got the concrete path that emerges to the outside and curves back towards the entry, and that's directly mimicking this ancient medieval stone wall here, one of the remnants of an earlier, fortress.
You'll see a model in there in a second.
And then at the very end of the compound, you get this incredible greenhouse where he's just turned up the volume, hasn't he, Kev?
Yeah, this is a later edition, but still by Sverre Fehn.
Still the glulam beams and the steel plates holding it, and it's just this big sort of laminated timber structure with skylights running through, all braced off, with the ancient footprint of the medieval castle.
Look at the V-shaped structure. So in plan they're V-shapes outside as well. And look at the way the steel straddles the concrete in a V-shape as well.
Serious structure, covering a pretty big span.
Also look at the way that the V-shapes are bolted together, because the bolt needs the washer to be flat, so they've added those little blocks. But the effect is that they look like grid of lights.
And then on this side, it's really lovely how the glass is just a single pane of glass that is loosely pinned on, and it's open. You know, that's the outside there. So the greenery just gets to grow through. He hasn't had to weather protect this. He's just basically put a greenhouse over it. So he's got the luxury of making the glass all through the building extremely transparent. And then you've got this, look, this is what it used to look like. That's that curved medieval wall.
And that's the servant quarters. That's where we are now. Some rich bishop.
You rich bish. At least I find me funny. Then you've got this great little vaulted structure that's low enough so you can still see the barn behind. In an aerial shot, you can see that the curve of this matches the medieval wall and the 60s ramp.
And you notice this is actually floating. We're actually entering a floating structure.
Oh yeah, which is one of the rules of the concrete, isn't it? That these bits don't touch. There's always light glowing around the edge of them, so the concrete seems to float.
Yeah, you can see the effort over there. How the walkway, that's open air. That's just a step up to go to the building above.
Well,
and likewise over there in that junction, just how careful they have made it not touch the two pieces.
It's beautifully executed formwork. So a lot of the ruins are 800 years old. So it's weathered. it's taken the weather. So it means that they've had the luxury of not having to hermetically seal the box or make it overly waterproof. So the glazing itself, you can see all the gaps in it. It gives you a great freedom to do it, basically create hard tents over the ruins.
Did it live up to the hype?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. You said it's worth coming to Norway just to see this building.
The train ride's beautiful.
The train ride from Oslo was absolutely gorgeous. Even the walk from the town at half an hour along the bay. Yeah, absolutely remarkable. Have you been before? Leave a comment and tell us what you think. Do you agree that this has a lot in common with the Scarpa's Castle Vecchio approach? Do you agree with me that this is better than Castle Vecchio? Oh, fight me, leave a comment. It's true, this is better. Yeah, and thank you, Norway, for putting this down. Holy moly, big blue skies.
So check the information about this museum, the Hedmark Archeological Museum. That's not the Anno Museum group. In the description below.
If you're coming to Oslo, great train ride, great walk, exceptional museum. You'd be crazy to miss it. No, we love you guys.
Ha det bra. That's bye in Norwegian.
Oh, okay. Have sausage rolls. Bye.